New this morning on your Fast Track to 7, a Breckenridge, Minnesota man is in a Fargo hospital with serious injuries to both his legs after a crane accident in Wilkin County. Police say 58-year-old James Jaworski was pinned under the cab of the crane that he was operating at a construction site yesterday after it tipped onto its side. That's where city workers had to use a front-end loader to pull the crane directly off of his legs. Police do say that Jaworski is expected to survive the incident. New this morning, the U.S. soldier who ran into North Korea in July is now back in the U.S. Private Travis King arrived at a Texas air base early this morning after being expelled by North Korea yesterday. Details that led to King's transfer are scarce, but the development is a rare example of cooperation between the United States, North Korea, and China. King ran into North Korea from the south on July 18th while on a civilian tour of that heavily fortified border. He was immediately taken into North Korean custody. North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum says he fought hard at last night's GOP presidential debate to get his message out and to tell the North Dakota story. Joe Skrzyszewski has a recap from Simi Valley, California.
The eyes of the political world were on Simi Valley, California Wednesday night for the second Republican presidential primary debate. 7 candidates took the stage in a pivotal moment in their campaigns to once again make the case for why they should be the Republican nominee for president in next year's election. Now here's some highlights from the debate, including from Governor Doug Burgum.
Donald, I know you're watching. You can't help yourself. No one up here is going to call you Donald Trump anymore. We're going to call you Donald Duck.
We didn't just talk about Parents' Bill of Rights. We enacted the Parents' Bill of Rights.
I favor ending birthright citizenship for the kids of illegal immigrants in this country.
If you want to restore hope, you've got to restore the family, restore capitalism, and put Americans back at work.
When you say nobody else has done it, the energy plans that have all been announced in the last month by these other folks on stage, we're already doing it in North Dakota. The border plans they're already talking about, we've got troops down at the border.
Look, I do disagree with something Tim Scott just said. Joe Biden doesn't belong on a picket line. He belongs on the unemployment line.
This is infuriating because TikTok is one of the most dangerous social media apps that we could have. And what you've got, I honestly, every time I hear you, I feel a little bit dumber for what you say. Because I can't believe that here you've got a TikTok situation. What they're doing is these 150 million people are on TikTok. That means they can get your contacts, they can get your financial information.
Which one of you on stage tonight should be voted off the island?
If Governor Doug Burgum and the other candidates want to qualify for the next debate, they're going to have to meet some higher qualifications to do so. That debate is November 8th in Miami, Florida. At the Reagan Presidential Library in Simi Valley, California, Joe Skrzyszewski, Valley News Live.
Our reporter there also caught up with Governor Burgum in the spin room after the debate. Let's check out a part of that conversation.
And you were fighting to get attention for those energy questions. Do you think you should be getting more attention when they're talking about oil and tech and that?
Well, absolutely. It's ridiculous. You've got one sitting governor up there who actually is a governor of an energy state. We produce more energy than most OPEC nations, and no questions. There's one person on the stage who's created more jobs than everybody else on the stage combined, and they're talking about the economy, don't get a question. Then they talk about technology and about TikTok in China, and I'm the only guy. In 1989, when I was a kid, starting that company in North Dakota with other people, I was in China, walked into a street market, and there was Great Plains software for $1 for a 5 1/4 inch floppy. We were selling it for $5,000 a module. So I've had software stolen, intellectual property from China in every company I've worked with since 1989. So then some other people have woken up in the last couple months that we're in a Cold War with China. I've been there. So of course I would say, let's understand who's got the experience on the stage to deal with these issues, and maybe they can get a question. That second GOP debate was held in the Reagan Presidential Library, and Burgum says he thinks Ronald Reagan would have been deeply concerned about some of the comments that America first means the U.S. does not work with its allies. Switching gears, prime time for some primefall colors in Minnesota, and the DNR says 2 spots in our area are the go-to places right now. It's Maplewood State Park near Pelican Rapids and Itasca near Park Rapids. They're both 75% peak color, as is pretty much all of northwestern Minnesota. And you can expect some big crowds this weekend as people head out for a look at the sugar maples, ash, and the aspen trees putting on their dazzling autumn display.
For more on that, it is time now for a look at our storm team forecast as we send things over to meteorologist Lisa Greer this morning. Hi, Lisa.
Good morning. Well, we've got some conditions that are going to be drier for a couple of days here this weekend for leaf peeping. And we do have some rain chances coming our way, though, and Friday may not be the best day for it, at least in the first part of the day. Here's a look at our rain chances for this week. We're talking about later tonight, an isolated shower in the northern valley. And then Friday, again, we are seeing more scattered to widespread areas of rain and thunder. And then Saturday night into Sunday might also feature a couple of shots of rain. In between, though, should be pretty nice. We've got some warm temperatures coming up that I'll show you in just a moment. Looking at your radar, or rather your sky cam in Fargo, you can see we have some overcast skies, just a little sliver of clearing underneath that cloud deck right now. We've got 62 degrees, so mild this morning in Fargo, wind out of the southeast at 15 miles per hour. And in Grand Forks, we are looking at some pretty quiet weather there too, 59 degrees, a south-southeast wind at 13. Again, that wind picks up today. We're going to see some gusts into the 20s, some 30s even by midday. And more clouds you can see drifting through as we make our way through the morning with a couple of showers you can see just under the clock there over into northwestern North Dakota. That's what I'm talking about when I'm mentioning that potential for a little light rain in the northern valley for later today. Here's a look at our forecast. For today, we're going to see temperatures getting into the low to mid 70s. Should be pretty nice with a mix of some sun and clouds. And then on Friday, chance for thunderstorms again, and that's especially going to be during the first half of the day. Weekend looks warm, upper 70s, low 80s coming up here with Saturday being the drier day of the two.
Okay, you know what? Good that it's the drier day because we were talking about those state parks, and Maplewood has their leaf days on Saturday for folks to get out there and enjoy.
Perfect timing. I think it's going to be a beautiful weather for that. So yeah, enjoy it while you can. You know, those leaves change very quickly, and we've got some decent weather at least for several of the days coming up this week.
Okay, thank you, Lisa.
New information this morning, the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension has been called to Granite Falls, west of the Twin Cities, for an officer-involved shooting. The BCA says a county deputy shot a man there last night.
Details have not been released. However, police say they believe that the man will survive. A Minnesota murder suspect who was accidentally let out of jail is now back in custody. U.S. Marshals tracked down 28-year-old Kevin Mason yesterday in St. Paul, and they arrested him without incident. He was busted in Indianapolis on September 11th and released 2 days later after a faulty records review by the clerks.
Attorneys for a woman accused of killing a North Dakota college student claims DNA reports indicate that there's no probable cause to charge their client, and they want the case completely dismissed. A former police officer has testified, though, that a DNA report showed that the defendant was the only person of interest whose DNA could not be excluded from the profiles on the weapon. 36-year-old Nicole Rice was back in court yesterday in connection with the 2007 murder of Minot State University student Anita Knutson. Bail is set at $25,000 now for a Valley City man facing child pornography charges.
Police say they found more than 10,000 computer files that were traced back to 33-year-old Andre Wallace's home in Valley City. Court documents say children in the video appear to be as young as 5 years old. Food shelves across the country are bracing for that possible federal government shutdown, especially one that could last more than a few weeks.
Second Harvest says hunger relief networks are already struggling to meet an historic demand for their services, and they're expecting to help even more people if the federal government does shut down. Congress now scrambling to act all before Sunday's deadline.
Heads up if you're driving on North Elm Street in Fargo this morning. Street crews were out overnight fixing a water main break. There it is. It's near Elm and 12th Avenue North.
12th Avenue is open at this time, but a section of Elm Street is closed near where that water main break occurred. Bruce Springsteen announcing that he will not be back on stage until the year 2024 at the earliest. The rock icon now postponing all remaining concert dates this year due to medical reasons.
Now the 74-year-old Springsteen has been fighting peptic ulcer disease. Peptic ulcer disease is the wearing away of the stomach lining that can be asymptomatic or it can cause debilitating pain. In other news, it sure wasn't your routine police canine call-out. A highly trained German Shepherd and officers sprang into action, and they wrangled that herd of goats Right there. Yeah, not the usual suspects. 30 goats had escaped from a property in New York.
Officials said someone had hired a company to provide goats to clear brush on that property. We've all seen those viral videos online, too, where they really come in and clear house.
They do a good job.
But then they made a run for it, and that's where Canine Pietro had to guide that herd across the yard, through some woods, back to their pen, and her grandmother's house we go.
Okay, some pretty bad behavior. I didn't bother.
Do it.
Yeah,
Do
no,
it.
I'm good. I'm good. No one wants to hear that this
We
morning.
had time for it.
We are going to move on. The Today Show and CBS Mornings are just about to start, but the Valley Today rolls on.
Thank you all so much for waking up and joining us here on the Valley today. Take care. Thanks for joining us again. My name's Ashlyn Hill.
And I'm Jordan Schreier. Have a great Thursday.